members of the Mayoral Committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we abuse it, pollute it, and systematically mismanage it, and yet our lives depend on it. This is water. Good afternoon and welcome to this launch of the City of Johannesburg's Water Security Strategy. My name is Diteboho Machele and I will be the Program Director for today's launch.
I will say all protocol observed because we have already acknowledged, but I think it's important that I also acknowledge the Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, the MMC responsible for EISD, the chairperson of the committee, and councillors from the committee itself in terms of Section 79. But also let me welcome all of you distinguished guests for coming and honoring this event today. I think mine is not a difficult task, but it's just to welcome all of you and also appreciate the fact that all of you took time from whatever that you were doing that others might have think it was more important than here, but you also decided to be here. But I think what is important, I think the program director has also touched upon. The executive mayor was telling me yesterday that I must distinguish between a crisis and a situation. Are we in a water situation issue or are we in a water crisis issue? I think in terms of what he was then explaining to me, it then came to a situation to say it will be a crisis if we don't deal with this issue. The reason we have strategies is that we need to have a long-term approach in the way we are going to deal with this scarce resource, which is water. And we do not want to have beautiful strategies that will be a document sitting in a library or somewhere in a corner, but we need something that all of us can go back and check if indeed this is addressing whatever issues. And one thing that is nice about the strategy is that it's not stagnant. Obviously things change, and when they change you adjust as per what is happening. So I think what is more important is that all of us as we are here, we must then remember that we are not only here to witness the signing off or the strategy, but we must all be activists in terms of preserving water. I think all of us, from wherever we come from, even when you drive in the inner city, you become so surprised how people waste water, because when you have a resource in your hands, you think that it will always be there. But you wait for days like the past 2 weeks, where we had this situationship in Gauteng. You'll then realize how important water is. In actual fact, even those who are not fans of bathing, when there's no water, you start missing to bath. So when something is not there, you start realizing how important it is. So I think what is important, colleagues, is that let's make sure that whatever strategy that is going to be presented, all of us become activists in making sure that indeed we preserve this water. We know that as not only as the city, but as the country, we're a water scarce country. But what we then need to do is that we can't be called a world-class African city if we don't lead. So it's important that we lead Africa, we lead globally in making sure that there is a strategy that addresses this futuristic approach. That is why we are in a situation where we are also advising and assisting other sister municipalities, those that look upon Joburg, to then say, this is how you must approach this issue. So I think it's important, and again, let me just, with those words, everyone who's joining us online, everyone who took time to make sure that ours is just to give you why we are here, and is indeed about the strategy. And thank you again. You are all welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocol observed, Executive Mayor and the councillors in the House. Let me start with a message of support. I'm just here to deliver the message that was given to me by the Department of Water and Sanitation. The department has received the strategy from the City of Johannesburg, and as a department we are welcoming the strategy. And this came at the right time where the minister is having different initiatives with all the metros in Gauteng to try and address water challenges within Gauteng. So we welcome it, and we are happy that you have finalized this document. And as the department will then look into it, we'll engage with the City of Johannesburg and Johannesburg Water and look at what the strategy would want to achieve. And from there, we can then, if it's necessary, we'll then amend the strategy, because the main goal is to address the water challenges on the ground. We have seen in the past few weeks, in the past few months, in a year or so, we've had challenges with Johannesburg in terms of water supply. So as the department, we are here to support and ensure that we have continued water supply in the City of Johannesburg. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Good afternoon. Let me acknowledge the Executive Mayor, MMCs, all councillors, executive directors and colleagues and all members of the community. I bring words of support as well as congratulations from the Gauteng Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Environment on this initiative of the water security strategy. We want to congratulate you because you have taken a bull by the horns before we could get into a situation which the Executive Director earlier in his opening remarks alluded to, avoiding an extreme crisis. While we are still dealing with the water situation, coming up with a very clear pathway of how we are going to be able to tackle the water situation in the city. As a province, we are both a user as well as a regulator. We support users of water as well as regulating in terms of the number of programs. And we want to continue the partnership with the city in relation to those. We are supporting users along the agri-food value chain, from farm all the way to the fork. We ensure that all the farmers that we work with understand the significance of water use efficiency, saving water and ensuring that the practices and technologies that they utilize are such that they are the ones that conserve and save water. And with industry, we also work on ensuring that they make sure that the technologies that they use in terms of processing, food processing technologies and all of those utilizes the latest technologies. And most importantly, where it's feasible and viable, that recycling of water becomes the norm, that no water become wasted. We are the custodian of environment in the province, and through the regulatory instruments that we have, we ensure that we protect the water resources in terms of the regulatory instruments such as the environmental impact assessment, the water bodies that we have, such that when we undertake development, urban development or even in the peri-urban spaces, that development does protect the water resources that are available to the extent that we can be able to conserve them. And in that particular regard, along those programs, we want to continue to work with the city to ensure that the strategy is implemented, and where we have the capabilities and the means as a province, we ensure that we assist the city to implement the strategy fruitfully so. One of the aspects that we are dealing with as a province is that we acknowledge the fact that urban hunger is a serious challenge, and such that you need to have urban food security program as one of the core. And without water, you won't be able to, or sustainable supply of water. The inhabitants of the city will not be able to contribute in ensuring that they help us. We work together towards eradicating urban hunger. And in that particular regard, we want to continue to partner with the city to ensure that there is access to water, there is access to spaces where households that are experiencing urban hunger can be able to produce and be able to sustain themselves and their families. In that particular regard, I want to conclude by saying well done to the city, and we look forward to continue the partnership and support of implementation of the water security strategy. Thank you, Program Director.
Sanbonan, all protocols observed, and yeah, it's actually overwhelming to be here, because I know when you start talking about the Alexander, people start like, I don't know, but Alexander is under a serious transformation, and I think we cannot talk about the past, about Alexander, but we are happy that we are part of the future. So it's obviously, like, in terms of communications, we need people who will communicate to just general public in Alexander to say what's happening out there. But as it has been mentioned, my name is Paul Maluleke. I was born and brought up in Alex, and my background is in tourism. I started my career as an environmentalist after a summit on sustainable development. So it's obviously that Alexander, there's a lot of challenges in terms of like the population need to, but in the reality is something need to be done. So the biggest challenge now is when there's no water, Mr. Mayor, it's a problem, because of, you can just imagine how many children do we have in Alex. They become frustrated. But then the reality again is our economy around water. So EISD River, as one of our heritage sites, we thought that from the tourism point of view, we want to rehabilitate EISD River and transform it into a tourism attraction. So what was important was again to respond to all the crises that we have in Gauteng, more especially in the city of Johannesburg. Like the issue of job creation, it's a serious problem. But then we've realized that the environment can be the largest employer, whereby currently we have 2,000 volunteers on board. And then I'm happy that the City of Johannesburg, the province and the national, they are supporting our project, because today we can say a large percentage of our community members, it's month end, I know they are going to be paid because of EISD. But in the reality was to say, how do we also respond as a community to global warming and climate change? So it was not easy, but then through our collaboration, more especially like support from the city, because they were the first people to respond that we want to clean EISD River. So they gave us the support, and then today we are happy that the support is going on. And I want to say to our executive mayor, thank you for always considering our community, because this is the second launch. We launched together. We launched Kikasi Rona, which is currently working. I can say, if you can come in the morning, you'll see miracles. It's part of tourism again, whereby the community, it's again coming out, it's a clean it, and then we're making sure that we also become responsible for a service delivery. So I don't want to take everybody, but please visit our website, or you can Google Alexander Water Warriors. Give us support, like our page, and what is important again is to make sure with we all understand that Amanzi it's very serious, more especially for the city of Johannesburg. Thank you.
Thank you to the Executive Mayor, the MMC, the acting ED, as well as the Director, who helped to coordinate and ensure that we are participating in this successful launch of the water security strategy. I'm with the World Resources Institute, but today I am representing the Sunkasa Consortium. Sunkasa is a project which we thought we would piggyback on the launch of this water security strategy as one of the examples of the projects that are taking, in collaboration with the city and partners in Johannesburg, that are taking the plan from a beautiful plan, but towards implementation. We, through this project, will be working with local partners in initiatives around river rehabilitation. We are focusing on the Yakske River catchment, river rehabilitation, urban greening, working closely with grassroots organizations that are already established, including the Alexandra Water Warriors that has been working with the city and other partners, as well as the Water for the Future, in helping to bring local community members to work in restoring our river systems, in upgrading our digital monitoring systems for tracking disasters that we sometimes experience in the city, such as flash flooding. And so this initiative speaks really to the strategic response 4 of the strategy. I did mention the local partners that we're working with in collaboration with EISD and under the guidance of the director. But we do also work with international partners, including the International Institute of Sustainable Development. That is a strong partner and will be supporting in developing citywide long-term cost-benefit analysis that will help us to think, how do we embed and come up with stronger opportunities for alternative water resources. If it's groundwater, how do we use nature-based solutions to ensure that there's sufficient water that's reaching our water tables? I must mention that this project that we co-created with EISD, the City of Johannesburg, is funded by the Global Affairs of Canada. And I'd like to pause and maybe to the next section, Ditebogo, with your permission, to just quickly introduce the 2 speakers which will join us through a video recording. One is the High Commissioner of Canada to South Africa, Mauritius, Namibia, and Lesotho. He's also the Ambassador of Canada to Madagascar, and that's Mr. Chris Kuta, who unfortunately could not be here today, but is very much looking forward to being part of the journey of implementing this strategy, particularly on water security and water resilience. We'll then have also a short message on the support of the strategy as well as implementation, particularly on strategic response area 4. We will have the CEO and president of our Canadian partner, the International Institute for Sustainable Development, and that's Ms. Patricia Fuller. Apologies for the twist in time. And with that, from the broader consortium of SUNCASA, which is ISD, WRI, JICP, Zutari, Alexander Water Warriors, Water for the Future, as well as the City of Johannesburg, we're looking forward to working collaboratively and exploring future opportunities for taking some of the strategic response areas towards implementation. Thank you.
I don't want to give an impression that there's no water. Even though this one is sparkling here, but there is water. So we don't have a water crisis, but a water situation. Not else, but and obviously I'm a little taller, okay? I'm a little taller as compared to. Let me obviously welcome the stage, the actors who are here. They reminded us of some, our time here at home, where we used to sing to call a rain to come. If we bring back those days, hopefully we'll solve all city water challenges in City of Johannesburg. But gone are those days life, and revolution continues. But let us appreciate the performance of our young activists that were here at front. Let me acknowledge the Executive Mayor of City of Johannesburg, Councillor Kabelo Gwamanda. I'm trying by all means not to mention that other word. But you must bribe me if you don't want me to mention it. Councillors present here, Chairperson of Section 79, Mr. Musa. City officials led by ED Tobohomudiba. And all protocol observed, officials from province and national government, and thanks very much for supporting our programs in the city. Let me hope that obviously there shall be such support in other municipalities. But this problem does not only reside in Johannesburg only, but is integrated to other water networks across South Africa as a whole. The launch of this water security strategy represents a bold step forward and demonstrates this government's commitment to addressing these challenges. It's a comprehensive framework that outlines our commitment to safeguarding water resources, promoting access to clean and safe water for all, and building resilience in the face of uncertainty presented by climate change, among other things. As a city, we have successfully launched our climate action plan, and this is followed up by actions, the climate action plan as one of the core themes. A water security strategy is crucial for protecting public health, ensuring food and economic security, promoting environmental sustainability, building resilience to climate change, and advancing progress towards a sustainable development goal. I think a gentleman from Alexander, when he was here, is it Paul? Give us a detailed Alexander challenge and program that they're doing. One of them that he mentioned, very interesting, he said, there are so many babies in Alexander. I think he was transporting a particular message. That I think as this generation, we must be able to solve such problems. That generation that we are producing in Alexander, they find Joburg being clean, safer to live, and we've indicated that you are turning it into an international or a local tourist attraction point. Mr. Mayor, Councillor Gwamanda, I would like to welcome you and call you to this stage to outline this bold plan to the residents of the City of Johannesburg. This strategy will ensure the transition of the city into a water service city. The journey to develop this strategy started 2020 under the harsh COVID times. These were multiple stakeholders and focus group workshops. Time was taken for building support, identifying roles, and ensuring alignment with existing and planned projects and work from across various departments. And I must tell again what we need from community engagements, Executive Mayor. Whatever we discuss here, we must take it out to our own society. They must know about it. Now, for us to discuss amongst ourselves becomes irrelevant if community out there are not aware of these most important initiatives. I'm saying this here because you look at the nature of the texture of water around Joburg, Bruma Lakes, and so on, Jimstein. The color of water has changed, become green because of the sewer infestation. Now it's good that Alexander guys are here, because I think we must also support a particular message to residents in Alex about the importance of infrastructure in this network, what does what and what doesn't do what. It is important EM to outline one important item here. And I'm saying this message all the time. that it is important to differentiate between a KI and a sewer network system. It's not the same. Stormwater pipes takes water differently to a different point as compared to sewer. But Alex, I need to know what they do because of the issue that the gentleman have raised, Paul, overpopulation and so on. Now, what do you do because the area is so small and the population is growing? Then you do upstairs, informal settlements and so on, other structures, encroachments, people building on top of the stormwater lines, KIs, electrical cables. But what is more disturbing is that we are experiencing quite a number of people in Alex connecting with these new structures, connecting that sewer line into the stormwater system. That's what end up, you see Joburg, you see sewer flowing within the streams. And during my experience back then when I was a businessman, I used to do sewer rehabilitation. Well, I was doing it somewhere in the inner city. A particular group of nature conservatives came to us with their lawyers and said, but you are killing fishes in Bruma. And I could not understand why. What I'm doing here in the inner city has an impact somewhere in Bruma. And I stopped everything that I'm doing, called a meeting, I had to understand why. And the explanation charmed me, and I realized the importance of environment. It's a chain process. The other one relates to the other and so on, whatever. So I'm saying that it's important that what we do here gets transmitted to our own society so that we're able to achieve, in fact, what we want to achieve in years to come. I might not read much on my notes because I like to speak from the mind, But let me indicate here that there's a political will from this administration to address some of these painful challenges that the society is facing, including water and electricity issues. In part of our program, there are also programs of city power, because it's important that we mention this, that part of the challenge we're facing here in Johannesburg of water challenges, weather, power fail, and economic and so on, what is also power related. So if you want to solve it in the long run, you don't address the issue of power, you're going to miss the point. So those two are interrelated, and I think this political administration led by our Councillor Gwamanda, we are taking decision to address these problems, not to complain about these problems. You might have seen, not so long, you were there, in Vliehof, in Alexander Marasteni. We are doing quite a number of projects with Joburg Water and also City Power. So to respond to such kind of problem. But again, I'm saying our society must meet us halfway. So that ourselves as government, when we are responsible to provide services, but they are also responsible to take care of such particular facilities. Without wasting much time, Executive Mayor, let me take this opportunity to welcome you on stage. Colleagues, please rise up, welcoming our one and only capable Councillor Gwamanda. I thought I would mention that.
No, thank you very much, MMC. I knew you were going to deviate when you started becoming a technician, moving equipment that don't belong to you. And subsequent to that, you abandoned the messages that you needed to deliver. You must know your children and their conduct. So I am used to it. But thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate the program director and the manner in which the program has been structured. I mean, our professionals, engineers, and those that are experts in the industry occupied the first segment for a reason. And appreciating the performance from capable young people who are playing their role in becoming the change that they want to see. understanding the fact that when you hand over the mic to politicians, you might not achieve the objective of the gathering, because the subject might just change completely. Trying to distinguish or make a determination of semantics, whether it's a crisis, whether it's a challenge, where it comes from, how do we mitigate. But one thing that stands out above it all is how the city communicates. Program Director, let me acknowledge the MMC of EISD, Councillor Sekwaila. Let me acknowledge the Acting Executive Director of EISD, the Chairperson of Section 79 Oversight Committee on EISD, and councillors that form part of the committee, as well as councillors from the region and the ward who are present here today. Let me take the opportunity to acknowledge representatives from various government departments, such as the Department of Water and Sanitation. The Minister has become my best friend, so I was hoping that he would join us. Thank you for having made your way here. The representatives from the Department of Water and Sanitation, we appreciate you. The Water Research Commission, SALGA, as well as GDAT. Let me acknowledge representatives from the Canadian government's initiative, Scaling Urban Nature-Based Solutions for Climate Adaptation in Sub-Saharan Africa. And in short, an acronym that politicians are all too accustomed to, SANCASA. We always chop and change everything to an acronym. We don't subscribe to complete definitions. Let me acknowledge the community groups, such as the Alex Water Warriors, represented by Mr. Paul. Personally, I am inspired by your submission here today. I do not know that, or rather did not know, that you noticed my presence in the beginning of the administration, when all hell broke loose. And I'm honored to know that the project that I was there to assist in launching is active to date. And the City of Johannesburg appreciates your efforts. Let me take this opportunity to also welcome officials in the City of Johannesburg. Let me greet you all, ladies and gentlemen, our important guests, the members of the media, esteemed citizens of the City of Johannesburg. Good afternoon. Program Director, I am truly honored to stand before everyone here today to address one of the most pressing issues of our time. Not just an issue that is susceptible to the City of Johannesburg, but the province, the country, and the world in its entirety, which is water security. And this initiative is undertaken by the Government of Local Unity. And MMC, I wish to remind the fact that the council approval for the water security strategy in the city was approved last year in October, in 2023 in council. That's when the approval came. So between then and now, the work that has been put in by experts in the background led us to this momentous moment. I stand here with the aim to illuminate the gravity of the challenges we face, outline our vision for a sustainable future, and galvanize collective action towards achieving water security for all. Launching this important document is yet another important milestone in the history of the City of Johannesburg, under the leadership of the Government of Local Unity that I have the honor to lead, MMC. Water, being the essence of life itself, is a finite and precious resource, both in its natural form in the environment and as a potable water supply. Yet, despite its critical importance, we find ourselves at a crossroad, grappling with the myriad of threats that jeopardize its availability and quality, MMC. From dwindling freshwater reserves to population, climate change-induced vulnerability, and energy challenges for pumping the potable water supply. The signs of strain on our water systems are unmistakably evident in our day-to-day lives. As we gather here today to discuss this critical issue of water security, it is imperative that we understand the significance of implementing a comprehensive water security strategy. Water security is not merely about ensuring a reliable supply of water for our daily needs. It is also safeguarding the very foundation of our society, our economy, and the environment as a whole. In recent years, we have witnessed the growing challenges posed by water scarcity. Pollution, like you said, MMC, and the looming spectre of climate change. Further, in recent weeks, the citizens in parts of Johannesburg have faced challenges of shortages that remind us that water security is not merely a luxury, but an imperative that demands our urgent attention and concerted effort. Today I stand before you not only as your executive mayor, but as a guardian of the city's most precious asset, and that is our water. It is our collective responsibility to ensure the availability and quality of this vital resource for generations to come. To this end, the City of Johannesburg, in collaboration with various stakeholders, have developed a comprehensive water security strategy that is essential for ensuring the well-being of our communities, the prosperity of our economies, and the health of our environment, as well as the Johannesburg through a transition towards being a water secure and sensitive city. This water security strategy is a manifested approach that requires collaboration, innovation, and sustained investment across all sectors of our society. The strategy has outlined 7 strategic responses. And these responses deal with the challenges that we face. As mentioned, or as it was supposed to have been mentioned by the MMC of Environment and Infrastructure Services, these 7 are listed in no particular order. But let me assist the MMC, because the strategy itself requires, as one of the strategic responses, that we secure the potable water supply by diversifying our water supply sources. To achieve this, we must adopt a multifaceted approach to address both the supply and the demand side of the equation. I know you are big advocates, the MMC, of such. This means, while enhancing our water infrastructure, exploring alternative water sources is a critical step. We must continue to explore the use of groundwater and water recycling and reuse to supplement the bulk supply that we receive from rainwater. Secondly, the strategy acknowledges the importance of water conservation and demand management. These are not just buzzwords. They are critical strategies for ensuring the long-term viability of our water supply. By implementing water-efficient technologies, promoting responsible consumption habits, and investing in infrastructure that reduces waste, we can make significant strides towards securing our water future. But conservation and demand management alone is not enough. We must also strive to cultivate a water-conscious society, a society that recognizes the value of water and acts accordingly. This is our 3rd strategic response. This means instilling a culture of stewardship and mindfulness in our communities, where every individual understands their role in the preservation and protection of our precious water resource. To achieve this vision, we must educate and empower our citizens to make informed choices about their water usage. We can do this through outreach programs, educational activities, and initiatives in schools, and public awareness campaigns that highlight the importance of water conservation and responsible stewardship. Furthermore, our program director, we must engage with business, industries, and other stakeholders to foster a culture of sustainability and accountability by working together to implement water-saving practices, innovate technologies, and adopt environmentally friendly policies. We can minimize our collective water footprint and ensure a more sustainable future for all. It is also imperative that we acknowledge the significance of including flood protection in our comprehensive strategy as one of the strategic responses. While ensuring access to clean water and sanitation are paramount, we must also confront the ever-present threat of flooding, a challenge exacerbated by climate change and urbanization. Flooding poses a significant risk to lives, livelihoods, and infrastructure, causing devastation and disruption on a massive scale. Flood protection is essential for the safety resilience, and prosperity of our communities. By integrating flood protection measures into our water security strategy, we can mitigate these risks and build more resilient, adaptive communities. One of the key components of flood protection is investing in robust infrastructure in terms of our stormwater management systems. Additionally, natural infrastructure such as wetlands, floodplains, and green spaces can provide valuable flood protection benefits by absorbing excess water, reducing runoffs, and preventing erosion. But again, the importance of water, of a water-conscious society, comes into play, as flood protection is not just by grey and green infrastructure. It is also about fostering a culture of resilience and community engagement. By empowering citizens with the knowledge and tools they need to prepare for and respond more efficiently to floods, we can build stronger, more cohesive communities that are better equipped to withstand and recover from disaster. As we see that water security is mutually intertwined with environmental sustainability and ecosystems health. Healthy aquatic ecosystems provide a wide range of services, from regulating the climate and supporting biodiversity to purifying water and mitigating natural disasters. By protecting and restoring these ecosystems, we can enhance water quality, preserve critical habitats, and safeguard the ecological integrity of our city for future generations to come. Thus, as one of the strategic responses, it is critical that we protect and restore these ecosystems, as this will not only enhance water quality, but also strengthen the resilience of our communities to environmental hazards. This is where our strategic relationships, especially with SANCASA, comes into play. As a project example, SANCASA project is looking at implementing some of the nature-based solutions outlined in the very same strategy. As we convene to address the multifaceted challenges of water security, it is essential to recognize the critical role of knowledge and data management in our efforts. In an era defined by rapidly evolving technologies, growing volumes of data, harnessing the power of information is paramount to making informed decisions, optimizing resource allocation, and maximizing the effectiveness of our water management strategies. This is our 6th strategic response. MMC, are you counting? Effective knowledge and data management are instrumental in enhancing the resilience of our water systems to future uncertainties, such as climate change and extreme weather events. By continuously monitoring and evaluating system performance, identifying vulnerabilities and adapting our strategies accordingly, we can build more adaptive and resilient water infrastructure that can withstand shock and disruptions. The last and 7th strategic response speaks to achieving a coordinated water governance. The complexity and interconnectedness of challenges of water security require that we recognize the central importance of coordinated governance and integrated water resource management in our collective efforts. In a country characterized by competing demands, fragmented jurisdictions, and limited resources, effective governance and integrated management are essential for achieving sustainable and equitable water outcomes. Coordinated governance involves the collaboration and cooperation of multiple stakeholders across different levels of government, sectors, and different departments within the city. By fostering partnerships and dialogue amongst policymakers, regulators, communities, and other actors, we can ensure that water-related decisions are informed by diverse perspectives, transparent processes, and shared goals. This collaborative approach helps to break down silos, bridge divides, and build consensus around water management priorities and strategies. Integrated water resource management, the IWRM, is a holistic approach that recognizes the interconnectedness of water systems and the need to balance competing demands, while safeguarding the long-term sustainability of water resources by considering the social, economic, environmental, and cultural dimensions of water management. The IWRM seeks to optimize the allocation and use of water resources in a manner that promotes resilience, equity, and environmental integrity. In conclusion, Program Director, we see that a robust water security strategy is essential for several reasons. Water is indispensable for human health and well-being. Access to clean and safe water is a basic human right, and without it, communities are vulnerable to disease, malnutrition, and poverty. By prioritizing water security, we can improve public health outcomes, enhance quality of life, and promote social equity and justice. We must address the systematic issues that contribute to water insecurity, such as an inequitable access to clean water and the disappropriate impact of pollution of marginalized communities. Furthermore, we must prioritize proactive measures that reduce flood risk and enhance resilience in our communities. This includes implementing land use and planning zoning regulations that steer development away from flood-prone areas, promoting green building practices that minimize flood damage, and putting in place early warning systems and emergency preparedness measures to ensure a swift and effective response to flood events. Lastly, water security is essential for economic prosperity and sustainable development. Water is a vital resource for agriculture, industry, energy production, and transportation. Without a reliable water supply, these sectors will falter, leading to economic instability and stagnation. By investing in water infrastructure, conservation measures, and efficient water management practices, we can promote economic growth, create jobs, and build resilient and thriving communities. As we embark on this journey, towards water security. Let us remember the significance of our efforts. Let us recognize that water is not just a resource. It is a precious and finite asset that must be managed wisely and responsibly. By working together, we can build a future where water is abundant, clean, accessible to all, and where our communities and ecosystems thrive in harmony. Together, let us commit ourselves to this vital endeavor, working collaboratively to build a future where our communities are resilient, our water resources are secure, and our environment is protected for generations to come. Program Director, thank you very much, and thank you all.
It's a very long speech.
Now you have something to hold us accountable. Sure. On your section 79 on the side comment. Okay. Yeah, I always do. The MMC knows they're all responsible. In our terms, we call this a mandate. And I'm sure you would know what is done with a mandate. It does not collect us. Please tell the program director, a political mandate does not collect us.
Sure.
So there is no way that this document is going to collect us.
No,
and there is a commitment that I am co-opting from the MMC.
Sure.
Thank you very much. MMC, this is for you, and this is for the Canberra. This is the City of Johannesburg Water Security Strategy. A mandate for the MMC. Thank you very much. MMC.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And everybody present, as you can see, the mayor has given me a mandate to deliver. So I have no choice. I must have sleepless nights and deliver it.
Unfortunately. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. As the chairperson in the City of Johannesburg for the Section 79 Committee of EISD, it is indeed my humble pleasure and great honor to stand before you today to deliver a vote of thanks for the launch of Water Security Strategy. Water is a vital resource, one that is essential for all aspects of life. It is crucial not just for our survival, but also for economic development, agriculture, and maintaining a healthy environment. Firstly, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all esteemed speakers, which includes the Honorable Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Kabelo Gwamanda, the MMC for Environment and Infrastructure Services Department, EISD, Councillor Jack Sekwaila, and Acting Executive Director, EISD, Mr. Dipocho Modiba. I would also like to extend my appreciation for message of support from the following organizations: the Department of Water and Sanitation, Water Research Commission, World Resources Institute, the Gauteng Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Environment, Alexandra Water Warriors, and Sunkasa Partners, the High Commissioner and Commission of Canada in South Africa, and International Institute for Sustainable Development, who shared their valuable insights and expertise on this important topic. Their knowledge and experience have shed light on the challenges we face in ensuring water security in our communities. Their presentations were informative, thought-provoking, and will undoubtedly guide us in developing effective strategies moving forward. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the organizers of this event, both EISD team and also communications team. Planning such an insightful discussion requires meticulous effort and dedication. The seamless execution of this event has allowed us all to come together and engage in meaningful conversations about water security. Let me also thank the Johannesburg Theatre team for providing the venue to host the launch and for providing us their performance group for entertaining us, as well as the launch, the long-term water security strategy. Furthermore, I would like to thank all the participants who have taken the time out today of their busy schedules to attend this event. Your presence here today demonstrates your commitment towards addressing the issue of water security. Lastly, how could I forget to acknowledge and thank our esteemed facilitator for exceptional guidance throughout the session, Litu Tiboho Machole. I hope that's correct. Her expertise in the field of water security has been evident from start to finish. This includes the panel discussion that was held last week towards the build-up of today's launch on water security strategy by navigating these complex discussions whilst ensuring everyone's voices were heard, and it is truly commendable. In conclusion, the Honorable Executive Mayor, Councillor Kabelo Gwamanda, has signed today the water security strategy, and now is the time to take the strategy forward by implementation. By implementing the 7 groups of strategic responses, 16 strategic responses, and 67 actions of the water security strategy. I thank you for your attention and for being present here today, and we welcome the media and also the residents to participate anytime to contribute to making our city a better place. Thank you so much.